Flory Models, kit review time. Today we're going to look at airbrushes and really the bottom end or your starter airbrushes. Get asked a lot which I should go for and everything else like that. Down in front of me we've got the full range of Harder and Steenbeck airbrushes. Now I know there are off spins to it, I know there is different versions of them, but this is the basic versions of what you've got. So at the top end, for around about the sort of 160 to 150 pound mark, you've got the Infinity. It's my airbrush of choice. I've got two. I've had this one here for around about 8 years now. I've had this one just over a year. This is the new CR Plus, has the Teflon seals. It's the one you see me use every time we do any modeling. Absolutely love it. My go-to airbrush, all right? Over here we've got the Evolution series. Okay, so to be honest, what we've got is my standard one, which I've had well over 10 years now. Absolutely loved it. It's been my airbrush that taught me how to airbrush properly. Never have a problem with it. It's running on the original internals until very recently, and it's been fantastic. It's served me well and taught me all my airbrushing. Underneath it, we got this guy down here. This is the AL version, or the aircraft aluminium version of it. It's quarter of the weight. It feels like it's plastic. It's not. It's actually metal, but it's a hell of a lot of money. Personally, if weight's an issue, then yes, by all means, but don't get it. Don't get the AL version. It's just a really expensive version of this one. So the AL version is going to cost you around about £150. This one over here, an Evolution, is around about £90. All right. Now the thing is, these prices are all for the singles. All right. Don't get confused with obviously the 2-in-1 series where you get 2 needles, 2 color cups, things like that. This is just for the singles. All right. They're great airbrushes and we use them here on Flory Models all the time. It's what I teach with. You guys who come here when we do the lessons and things like that on airbrushing, this is what I have you use, all right? But a lot of it is, recently I get asked about a good starter airbrush and what would I recommend and everything else like that. And this guy here is something I've never had, and it's the Ultra. So I went out and bought one this week just to have a play with it and to see really, you know, is there any mass difference between them all? So actually what we've got, if we just move these out of the way, this is the Ultra. Now again, it's the single, it just comes as it is, you see here, in a nice little box. So actually what do you get? Now this is slightly different from the Evo, which is the bog standard one that I've used up till now. The big difference is that when you look at them, they look pretty similar, okay? No problem at all. If we just drop down this top camera just a little bit, as you can see, there's not much in it, but there is some actually quite big differences. The first of all is the color cut. Now up here on top of this guy, if I can get it off, it's been on here a while, we've got interchangeable. This is a 5mm color cut, okay? And the great thing is with all your other airbrushes, so we've got this guy here, all the color cuts, they're interchangeable between them all. So it doesn't matter if you've got the AL, it doesn't matter if you've got the Infinity series or the Evolution, everything interchanges, okay? Major difference with here with the Ultra is we get this. This is just a push fit. It doesn't actually screw into anything. It just sits on here and we've got a little 2mm color cut, okay? So we can't take this and put it in something else, all right? So the color cut is actually quite a large difference between the two. Okay, next thing you've got is obviously in the back when we unscrew it down here and then we unscrew the other one. You can see we've got quite a noticeable difference between the two areas down the back here. Okay, now you can actually see that we've got a situation, if we just whip the needle out, the needle is going to be exactly the same between the two. Okay, if we get the needle even out of this one, it's been in here a while. I should have done this before. Good tip. It's actually stuck in the end. Okay, there's your needle. We just pop this back together. Okay, you can see there's quite a bit of difference. We can get this guy even in, come on, that's it. So the needles, obviously looking at the thickness, you can see the difference. This is a 0.4 needle, this is actually a 0.2, but the needles are exactly the same. So you could interchange the needles between the two and you wouldn't have a problem at all, all right? But looking immediately at the back end, you can see we've got a noticeable difference. The actual collet for tightening up to actually clamp down on the actual needle is the same, but actually this part here, we've got a complete different rear assembly to it, okay? So this is your rear assembly for this one, and then obviously this guy doesn't technically have one. It has a smaller variant on there, just like that. So that is quite a lot of difference, all right, between the two. The actual trigger on the top is exactly the same, but from this one, actually we've got a nice piece of brass, I think it is down here, versus we've just got a piece of, I don't know what that is, looks like stainless something, okay? And the quality isn't exactly the same. You've got a different button on the top. It's a cheaper, thinner piece compared to the other one. This is a thicker, more substantial. Bearing in mind this guy here is 10 years old, you can see it's had a lot of wear, but it is a different pattern on the top. It's grooved and all the rest of it versus this one down here. Okay, underneath you've got your valve assembly, okay, which we just have a button top and all the rest of it. And I'm thinking hopefully I can get this guy off. Yeah, so it's going to go. All right, so this is for this one. This is exactly the same, apart from it does have the Teflon seal, which is up in there, which if I can just get that off. This is a new Teflon seal, which means it is a modern version. They changed them because if you ever get an airbrush, if I get this guy even out, that runs on, this is your problem, okay? Because if you've got the black version in here, that makes it rubber. And what the rubber one does, it actually gets a little bit of thinners on there, it swells up and it makes the trigger run on. So when you let go, if it carries on, it's because this is either too tight or you've got the old seal. But these are basically just the same. There is no difference between these. They are identical, okay? Then running through to the front end, you can see we should end up with roughly the same assembly. So we've got our nozzle. Bearing in mind this is horrible, dirty and all the rest of it, but this will be our same. We have a nozzle and end. So the nozzles and needles are all interchangeable between the two. You can see this has got a groove on it, which is telling me it's a 0.4. This doesn't, so I know that's a 0.2, okay? But as you can see, generally from the parts layout, as you get them just down in front of you, you can see what we've actually got down here. Pretty much identical, but when you look at the quality and the difference in the parts, you can see it's slightly different. This guy on the end, for instance, is a one-piece end system, where if you was to buy the Evo, the standard without the pinch clean, mine's an optional extra on the end, the outer bit comes off, you can unscrew it and take it away. This is a one piece, all right? The actual body itself, when you look through, is exactly the same. We've got the same situation. The air, it was going to come down the side, okay, and right the way through. But when you look at it, you can see this one looks a little bit more chunky, it's a little bit more substantial, but really the ends of them are almost identical. Okay, so it's the same setup you can see down in here. Okay, and then looking down inside, I don't know how well you can see it, you can probably see that little brass cross end. That's actually going to be where your seal system is going to sit. Mine is horribly dirty in there, you're not going to see it again. But generally between the two, they're both good quality, they're good weights and all the rest of it. I can't actually see there being a problem all the way in there. So generally, the major differences are this rear piece. This is a lot thinner. It's a simple spring system. There is a spring in here as well, but it's all buried amongst this guy. So that's slightly different. The trigger is a little bit cheaper, and the front end. Apart from that, there really is no difference. So you're looking at around about £40 difference between the two. The only thing is obviously this end system, we're just going to make sure we can upgrade if we wanted to, which we can upgrade to put the pinch clean on the end, although it doesn't feel exactly as if it loves it. It's not quite as good as this one. So I think the ends, although I think they're going to go, let me just see if we can stick this one on the Evo, just to see if they are the same thread. They are the same thread, so you could easily upgrade if you wanted to have the 2-prong pinch clean on the top of the Ultra. Okay, it's just that the thread doesn't feel as good. We'll check it for air leaks in a minute, see if it can. But if you wanted to, you could upgrade it and have that in there. I think you can get bigger color caps as well to go in and all the rest of it. But generally, I can't see there being a problem. It does feel all pretty good. So if we just pop the Ultra together, so we're just going to put the nozzle in here. As I say, it's a standard 0.2 needle set and nozzle, which is what I use for all of mine. Okay, we just put the little valve system in the bottom. Okay, put the trigger assembly in the top, which you can't get it the wrong way around on these. Okay, so that's gonna go in and then sit in. Okay, this rear part is just gonna go in and screw it in the back. So that goes through, nice, snappy, should be firm and all the rest of it. Okay, the needle is then going to slide in. You shouldn't feel any resistance pushing that through. Don't over push it, otherwise you're just going to push it all the way in, and then the back goes on and you should be all snappy and good to go, just like that. Okay, so you can put your colour cup in the top and you're all good to go. Now let's move these out of the way. Okay, we'll pop them together later. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to grab a bit of air. open the Mac valve. You can hear comes through. So push down is for air, so the more you push down, little amount or all of it, adjusts your actual airflow. And then you've got your pull back is for actually doing the amount of paint you got through. So what we'll do is we'll just pop this guy down here. We are just going to grab a paint. I just want a normal paint. Oh, what we got here? This is going to be grey on grey. I should be looking for a better paint colour really. Okay, so we're just going to grab, this is dark grey just so we can see it down on here. To be honest, this is a brand new bottle. It's never been really worked. It's got no agitator in there and all the rest of it, so I don't know how well this is going to work. Okay, so we're just going to pop a little bit of paint down in the bottom, and I say I've never used it before. The needle even through. Perhaps I should have put some paint through it first. Come on. Making sure the needle is set. There we go. Sorry, needle wasn't quite pushed in correctly. Okay. And then in, and you can go nice and small, as you can see. We have no problem. This, actually, that is a really nice airbrush, and I tell you what, for 50 quid, that's a bargain. Colour him. I love the smell of these new paints. They're absolutely great. No more whiffiness. General, quite thicker lines. Okay, we can go in nice and tight. Yeah, I have to say, I'm very impressed with that. Goes in there nice. Full tilt comes out. Really, really nice. We'll grab a little bit of airbrush cleaner if I've got any left anywhere. Okay. Just give this a quick clean. Okay. And as I say, you'd have your cleaning pot and you can do this. No problem at all. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop a little bit of thinners in here, just give this a quick colour change. I'm just going to see if you can upgrade it without a problem to be the Infinity style pinch clean. Okay, so we'll pop that in there, dump that through. No problems at all. Grab a little bit of this. Sorry, I should have prepared for all this. Okay, so actually I am very impressed. It feels not a lot different to my Infinity, put it like that. And going in and say, first time I've ever touched this airbrush or used it, we've just gone in and we've done very tight work, big work, little work, and all the rest of it in between, with a paint that technically wasn't fully ready to go through. I think that was the trouble. I had a lump at the beginning. It took a while just to blow that out. That was my fault for rushing a paint instead of testing it properly. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to pull the needle back just a touch. Okay, I'm going to take the front end off. And what we're going to do, we're going to retain the nozzle, but I'm just going to put on, just to see if I can put in a pinch clean top, because to be honest, the pinch clean on the front is my thing. I love it. It is so simple, it's easy to use. You can see if you've got any build up on your nozzle, you literally pinch clean it, as you might imagine. As soon as you get any build up, you just pinch clean it and away you go, and you get very little build up with it at all. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put in a tiny bit more paint just to see, and it does, it works just as well, no problem with that whatsoever. And on a good pull. As I say, I love that smell. Okay, colouring in, out of paint, and away we go. And we can do a quick dump clean. Okay, just in there like that. So if you wanted to, you could upgrade your nozzle, no problem at all. And just come here, we're just going to do a tip and flow. Max air pressure, max full everything. Remember cleaning out your airbrush. If you get this type of thing where you can still see things, you've still got paint in there. So come in there with thinners or your airbrush cleaner, whatever you do, until when you do that final pull and you finally lose all that colour, you should see nothing and a running. So at the moment that's still because we've got stained down there, so we'll do one more. Okay, and actually a 5mm colour cut lasts quite well. You can see now that the paper towel is a lot less. We're blowing through nothing at all now. We've got nothing coming out the end. And again, with a pinch clean, all you would do is have a wet piece of towel with some thinners on it. You can pinch clean and draw it off, and you'll take away absolutely everything. So that works really well. You are going to get paint build up on the end here, which would be my worry. So because it's not screwed in, there's no actual filter, seal on it or something like you'd get with one of the other airbrushes. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just take this guy off. Just retract the needle a little bit, because if it's a difference in size, then what can happen is you screw it in, you splay the needle out, and you end up with a big old mess. Okay, and there we go. Back in, got that back in. See where the needle and the nozzle, you can actually see that going down in there. So again, don't over force this in, otherwise you can push down. But I am actually extremely impressed. There we go, never touched it before, and we've got fantastic paint results just off it like this. Again, it's not on paper towel and faking it. This is generally straight down onto paint and everything else like that. So there we go, that is an Ultra. So if you are in the market for something which I think is the easiest airbrush in the world to clean and use, you saw how quickly I disassembled it. You can see anything in. The only thing I would recommend is to get yourself a couple of tools, which I always keep and I always recommend. One of these is this. This is a reamer. It's Harder and Steenbeck reamer. This is designed to go in the nozzle, so you place it in the nozzle like this. Give it a couple of turns and you'll be amazed the dried rubbish and nasties you'll get off the inside. You can see down here, and this was supposedly clean. Okay, that is that one. The other one you get as well is the brush, which has the different sizes. So this guy, for instance, I know it's a bit hard and crusty and I shouldn't really, but you can poke this up and it goes in and it cleans out exactly all the sizes you want without overdoing it, without scratching the internals and all the things like that. It is a very nice clean airbrushing system to go through, okay, and I would highly recommend. So between the reamer, one of those, they're about a tenner each. They're quite expensive what they are, but they'll last you forever. And the Ultra, you'll be absolutely fine. But I do believe you can get a bigger color cut. That would be my only downside to it. So if you could get the one with a bigger color cut like this, like a 5mm, you'd be absolutely fine. But that's a good size 2mm on there. It's probably going to hold 3mm anyway, and away you go. But I'd highly recommend that airbrush, and definitely a good one for my set.